So let us start our lecture today, but let us first look at our schedule. So according to our schedule, in this week this week and next week we will discuss method. In other name, method is called a function and method. And there is nothing due for this week, but next week you have quiz 5 due and you have test 2 on 11th, 10th or 11th. Test 2 will cover from module 1 to 5, whatever we will discuss until next week. Will be in your test 2. But if you understand this week's lecture, then we will complete like more foundation of a programming language. Then I think it will be good. Okay, so on the slide, if you go our repository, then slide, you will see function and parameters by this name. By the way, function and parameter is called function is an object-oriented programming language. A function is called a method. A function or method, and we will discuss about parameter. If you open module 5 slides, so module 5, there are about more than 60 slides. Okay, all about function. We will discuss how to open a function, how to create a function, how to develop a function, and how to use a function. Okay. So what is a function? A function is, or method, is a logical grouping of some statements that is designed or developed to perform some certain or specific task. Okay. A function or a method is a logical, means should be logical, and there should not be any inconsistency. A group of statements that will have a name, and that is just it. The purpose of using a function just to reuse it. Life happy and easy. Programming life easy. Program coding. Once we declare a function, we can reuse the function again and again and again. Need to write same code again and again and again. We can have a function, you can reuse it, or there are some built-in functions. We are already familiar with some functions. Like for instance, when we discussed our previous programs, we use a lot of functions. For instance, print a function. Let us start. Okay, so we'll come back later. I want to start here. So a function usually have a name, a return statement, return type, a return statement. Okay, so and a function usually contains is called header, okay, and this is the function body. In most languages, Python like body start with a opening brace and it closes with a closing brace. But in some languages like Python does not use brace, So it is indentation. Okay. So let us let me start with a program with Java. With Java. Sorry. New function with Java. Function demo example 1 with Java. You already have a function. Okay, Java example. So here we already have a function. We already have two functions here. Main is a function and println is a function. Everybody is used to using println who are taking Java. And in C# we use write line, right? Write or write line. And in C we use print, okay, or printf. So this is a function. This function is a built-in function. That is, the compiler has this function and we are using this function. Okay, but now our goal is to define our own function, design our own function. We can reuse it or someone else can use my function. Okay, defining a function is not a tough thing, but I like you to give attention. So people who came late, please close your handheld device. No, nothing. Do not open. Yes. So in most of the languages, most of the languages use an opening brace to start the body and a closing brace to close the body. And this statement, within this statement, this is called function body. Okay. Okay, and this is the function header. Okay, we can start the brace even here also. We can start it here, no problem, but we can start a new line. That's fine. Okay, so for now, let us forget about this public and static. We will discuss this later, but let us focus on this thing. Int, we know that int is a type, right? Data type, built-in data type, right? Int is a type, and this is method name, your function name. And this is, there are two variables over here. This is num1 and num2. Num is integer type and num2 is integer type, right? So we are familiar with variable, right? Here, so first of all, how do I know that this is a function? Simplest trick is to know that this is a function when you see a pair of parentheses. Okay, then this is a function with something or without something. We may have something within the parentheses or may not have something within the parentheses. So this is a function. Okay, what is the function over here? Println is a function. You will learn this, what is called system.out later. Forget about this, but this one is print. Println is a function. How do I know that this is a function? Whenever we see this, a group of parentheses, a pair of parentheses, this is a function. Okay, and at the parentheses, when you see that this one actually is a function call, and this one somewhere println method is defined. Java compiler or somehow in the system has. This is a built-in method. We are not worried about built-in method. We just need to reuse this. We We just need to use some specific format to call this method. But for now, let us know how to create our own method, customized method, function. Okay, so you see the main is a function. This is right. It has a pair of parentheses. So main is a function. Also print ln is a function. Okay. Now our goal is to create a own function. Like a function like this, for instance, int sum. This one. Let me copy this code. Or let me copy the whole thing. Let me copy whole thing. Let me copy and paste it. You know, by in C# and in Java, everything goes within a class. Okay. So after this module, you will learn about class. For now, a function must go within a class. Okay, but not outside of class. So I need to put this here. In some languages, for instance, Python, so this Java and C# by default start with a main method. Yes, right. You need main method, but some languages, for instance, Python, does not require an explicit main method. So you can start with a program right away on the fly without a main method. In Python, so I think I discussed this concept, whatever I will be discussing in this lecture today, in Python in another video. So if you want to know about Python, just watch another section video, this one with Python. Introduction to functions started Python program. I discussed for Python. There is some different concept in Python. I discuss Python here. If you want to know about this, just watch this video. But here I want to discuss with Java, and then later I will go with C#. And next class I will go with C++. People who are taking C++ lab, please remind me if I forget, because C++ has also something different. So this is our function. A function has two things. One is called the function. Okay, by the way, these are called user-defined function or custom function. We are developing our function. This is called the function header. This is called the function header, and this is called the function body. The body start with a opening brace, and with a, and whatever you have within this body, these are the statements. Two things, two major elements of a function signals or header, and then body. Okay. So a header cannot contain a semicolon. You cannot put semicolon after header. Okay. But in Python, after header, we need to give a semicolon, colon. Okay. And in Python, you know, Python uses indentation instead of brace. So this is Python. Indentation means these codes are within this method. But in Java, so even you do not use indentation, that's program will work, no problem. This bracket will contain this one will in the body. So if you have another block of statement, that you need to put this within. Okay, for now, let us make it simple. Let us make this program simple. So here, this is my sum, is my function name. How do I know that this is a function? I have a pair of parentheses, right? Sorry, parentheses, right? The function name. Okay, so you see that within a function, you may have something here, function header, or may not have something. So if you have something here, any variable declaration, that will be variable declaration or something class. So these are called, this kind of variable, num1 and num2, these are called argument variable, or in other words, it's called parameter. The parameters are more likely local variable. We will discuss that the difference between local variable and parameter later. Okay. For now, the last just forget about these two. Okay. We were discussing this. Okay. So here, actually, in Java and in most programming languages, if a function is an identifier, the name, the function name is an identifier. This name, like a variable name. So you should start with a lowercase. So here, but this sum is a variable over here. This sum is a method name. This sum is a variable name. So what I am doing, I declared here a function. Okay, I will talk about int later. That has two parameters. Okay, and this is another sum. My name of the function is sum, and this is here. This sum is a variable. This sum is a function, but this sum is a variable. Okay, so I want to sum equal to be num1 plus num2. So these are variables. So whatever name you can give, variable, no problem. So this is an identifier. This is an identifier. Okay. So this is our body, and this is our header line. Okay, two things. Okay, now we have just declared this function. Now we will call this function, for instance. How do we call this function? For instance, let us call this function within my print method. When you call this function, you see that this function body, this function is called signature function. This function, the header line, it says that it takes two arguments, two integer type arguments. That means when you call this function, you must provide two integer values, one for num1 and another for num2. Okay, so the whatever value you give for first one, that will go for first value. Whatever value you give for the second time, that will go for second variable. So if I run this program, let us think what will display. Can anyone please tell me? Yes, it will display 15. Okay. If I run it, so it is displaying only 15. Okay. So, but if I run this program again with a different value, for instance 15 and 10, then my num1 will be 15 and num2 will be 10. So then it should, for the second line, 25. 10 plus 15 equal to 25. So very simple, right? Do you understand this? Anyone has any questions so far? Okay. So here, let me recap it. what I have done, I have declared a variable, I have declared a function named sum, takes two integer type argument, okay, and I have another sum. This is a variable within this sum method function that actually returns the summation of the two variables provide here. The name I can even put xy. Even instead of sum num1 or num2, I can put a different name, or whatever name I put over here, I will give same name x and y. So this name is not a matter. Okay, so if I run this program, it will give me same name. Okay, so when I born, my parents gave me a name, right? He could give me a different name. He could give me your name to me. They could give me, right? Name is not a matter. Yes, so then, but whatever is doing here is matter. But one thing that I like to take your attention here, you see that sum. Take the lid off, please. Okay, here I have a method named sum, and I have within this method I have a variable named sum. It is okay to have it. We should not have it. For instance, in a home or in a family, you may have a baby named Tom, and you may have a cat named Tom. Okay, two different species, right? We usually do not do that, right? We usually do not give a name to dog or cat. Same name we have a baby, a man in our family, right? So we should not use this name here. Let me do its result. It is okay that we saw that it will do our purpose, but we should not do that. So we simplified, and still our program will give us same result. Okay, so far what we declared a function with two arguments. Two argument means that when we call this function, this is called function. This is the function call. Then we must provide two values, one for this variable and for another. For instance, if I want to call this function with like this, only 15. You see that this is giving me an error? Because when I hover my mouse over here, it is showing me that main method, sum, it has signature int x and int y. Okay? That means I must provide another value, even it is 0. Now, the most important line over here, we want to discuss this one, is return statement. Return statement start with a return keyword. It returns a value. Okay, the return statement should statement method. Returns means go back. Like for instance, break or something. In a loop, we use break or return. For instance, the return, we can have return over here. But after return statement, you cannot hear the statement. So this is why it is showing error. After return statement, you cannot have any more statement. You understand? Because I have this statement. So I'm sorry. I have this statement after return, so it is illegal. So what do you have understand? After return, we cannot have many more statements. So return statement should be the last statement. Okay. Okay. The return statement, if you say just return, then this return statement is related to this return type. This is the return type. And this return statement must be consistent with this return type. Okay, let me back it, take this return back here. I want to return. So in this function, we are returning result. What is my result? Result equal to x plus y. So instead of typing result over here, I could type in x plus y, return x plus y. That would work also. Even if I say like this, return x plus y, it will work. The same thing. When I say return state, return instead of using result variable, if I return x plus y, it will do same thing. So the return statement is an important statement. Okay, so you understand that is working, right? So now let us understand the effect of this return statement. So if I say instead of return x plus y or result, if I say return 0, can anyone please tell me what will be the output for this program? If I return 0, all of my output will be 0, 0. Because according to my function, whatever I am doing, even I should return result right over here, but instead of returning result, I am returning 0. So this function will give me a 0 value. Okay. So this return statement must be consistent with this return value, returns type. This is the return type. Okay. So if I don't want to, so now you understand that what is the return. So if I return 10, what will be my output? Yes. So whatever I do within this function, that doesn't matter. What it matters, what it returns. So our result will be 10, 10, 10. So whatever I return over here, you see that my output will be. So that we understand that return statement has an important effect, right? Okay, so the return should be consistent. Okay, and now for some time we do not need to return any value. We will discuss that soon, but let me tell you what happens, what are the benefits if we have a return statement. Okay, so if we do not want to return any statement, then we will type in just void over here. Void means this function will not be able to return any value. It will do whatever you want to do with this function, but at the end, it will not return any value. Okay, so in our regular like daily life, return statement is like this. For instance, if there is something happened outside, if I ask, what is your name, please? Robert. If I ask Robert, please go outside and see what happens. So Robert should go outside and can see what. When he comes back, he can report us, right? Professor, this happened. Or he can just sit, take rest, right? Because whenever if I asked him, Robert, go outside and see what happens. I did not require him that to report us, right? To return us anything. But if I tell Robert, go outside and see and tell us what happens, And he should go outside and see and give us feedback. That feedback is returned. Understand? So if I like Robert or my sum method that will not give us any feedback, then we will say void. Yes. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to discuss that. Good question. So we will discuss that. So sometime, for instance, if I do not want to return a value, then will void this. If I use void, then I cannot have any return statement. This one. Yeah. I cannot have, if I use void, then I cannot have return statement. Okay. So now we want to discuss why do we use. So then if I use void, for instance, then so that my print method is showing error, right? So then actually here, actually it needs a value. Since print ln method needs a value, since this method does not return any value, so it is showing an error. If that for now, coming back to here, let me try to teach in opposite order. So if I say int over here, then I have this return, let us return result. Okay, now it is fine. So if this method returns a result, that means result will be an integer value. Even I can say maybe simply I can say int result equal to this. Okay, simply I can say this. Then you see that, for instance, if this method, this is the important thing, okay, remember this. If a method returns a value, that method can be used like a variable of that kind. If a function returns a value, that function can be used like a variable. For instance, then I can do it here, maybe 10 plus sum. We know that 10 is a value, right? Plus sign, it requires another integer, right side, another numeric value. So this method returning whatever is returning 5 plus 10, 15, that will be added with 10. So it will give me result. First one will give me a result 10 plus 5 plus 15, 25. The second one is giving me 15 plus 10, 25, and third one is 0, 15. So the difference between this line and this line. If a method returns a value, this method or this function, if a function returns a value, this function can be used like a variable. So I am using this sum as a variable. Even I can say it, so like a variable. If I say 2 times, I can do that. Like this will return a value, right? So if this method returns a value, so then ultimately after when this statement comes here, this statement will be executed first, and whatever value it returns, that will be applied here. So it will returns x plus y, that means 5, 10. That 15 will be replaced here. Do you understand this? Okay, now, okay, everybody give attention here. What I'm doing here, I want to return 0. Now, what will be our result for this one, this statement, and this statement? Yes. For this one, no matter what I do with this function, it is returning what? 0. And this method is returning, and this method is returning. So no matter how many, what kind of values I give in this argument, That doesn't matter because it matters that I'm returning what? 0. So at the end of this method, after working this method, it will give me 0 value. So here, so this is why so this will print 0 and this will print 0, and also this will be 2 times 0 equal to 0 and plus 10, right? So it is giving me 10, 0 and 0. See that? So now you understand the effect and importance of return statement and return value. Understand? Okay, let us do something more. Now, if I say that my function will do a lot of things, but it will not return any value. For instance, Robert will go outside and he will observe, and whatever he will keep notes and something. He will, when he comes back, he will not tell us anything. That means we want to ensure, if we want to do that, then we will do void. If we have void, then that means this method does not return anything. Then we cannot have this return statement. So then, for instance, for printf method, it is showing an error. Actually, so let us skip this one because it's showing me an error. So now, how I will call this method? This is called, I'm calling this method. Okay. So if I run this method, what will be my output? Can anyone please tell me? Nothing. I did not, nothing means that I did not give any print statement, right? So our console will be blank. You see the many print statement. See blank. So if I have a print statement, for instance, print, it's in Java, right? I need to system.out.println. And for instance, result. Okay. Now if I run this program, what will be my output? Yes, 110 plus 15. Okay, let me make it simple. 10 plus 15. It will give me 25, right? So the output is coming from here. It's 25. Okay. So if I call this method again another way with a different type value, 5 plus 10, it will give me 15. First one will give me 25 and the second one will give me. So since in this method I cannot, I have my void return type, then I cannot have any return statement. So I should have my own print statement here. Otherwise, I will not have any result, right? If I do not use this print, then I will not see any output. For instance, but this one is okay. So now do you understand the importance of return statement and the effect of return statement? If a function has a return type instead of void, then that function can return a value. Okay. So if a function returns a value, that can be used as a variable of that type. For instance, if this function instead of returning this one void, I can have written any one of the 8 primitive data types, right? There are 8 primitive data types, and we can return any of those. Okay, primitive data. Or else we can also return class type. So here, if I return float, so this is why it is showing me as soon as I deleted void and read float, then it is showing me an error. How should I remove this error? I need a return statement, right? So what I want to return? For instance, if I return this result, you see that there is a different. Previously I returned integer, but this time I'm returning float. So anyone can please tell me that what will be my result here? Okay, 2515 still is showing, but in some it may show you 25.0. Some languages like Python. Something. Oh, I'm sorry. Reason is that it is my integer I have, right? If I make it float, then it should return me 25.0. Returning is here. Okay. So here, so this my return type must be consistent with my return statement. Otherwise, my return statement, return value must be consistent with return type. Okay, this is return type. So even I could have return type string. If I say string over here, so I can say I can return string as a result. Okay, so if I run this program, this return actually I can differently I can run it. So then, oh, so this result is coming from here. Effect is here. This is the sorry. The result is coming from this line. Now we understand that a return statement has an important effect. Okay, now for instance, make it integer. Okay, so now if I have a method with a return type, then it should return statement. Okay, the whatever it returns, that value is important. Okay. Okay, the print method, okay, the error was previously like when I was this. Print element method actually within this it reads a value. So this is why I could not make it void over here. I made it void over here. I cannot have returned this. Then my print method will give me an error. Say this one 10 plus. This is still receiving an error, right? Let me go back to. Okay. So this is a function call. How do I know a function call? This is the function, and whenever I see that a group this is a function. Okay, and these are the numeric values. These are called actual parameters. Actual parameters or called formal argument in other way. Yes, so these value will go for x and this value will go for y. But you see that when you call a function individually, then you need to give a semicolon at the end. But when you call a function within another function, here we cannot give semicolon here. We cannot give semicolon here, because a semicolon means at the end of a statement in some languages. Okay? So give semicolon over here. Okay, so before I wrap up, let us review everything whatever we discussed. This is a function. A function is used to perform some task. Okay? A function is defined one time and can be called multiple times, right? A function has a return. If a function has a return type, then it must contain a return statement. Whatever the value it returns, that must be consistent with return type. Okay, and we saw that this return value is an important thing. Okay, so how do I know that this is a function? Whenever we see a pair of parentheses, this is the function. So this is a header and this is function body. This is function body and this is function call. And also this is function call, and print ln is also another method. So this is another function call. If you understand this, so from next class we will do more about. Yeah? Thank you so much. But if you want to learn this in Python, then you can this program I discussed, and then you can watch video for this section. Okay. Thank you so much.